We are now recording. Gentlemen, welcome. Good morning and welcome to Paintball Therapy. This is Brad. I have Marcus and Kevin again. We're going to try to make this one work. We had some technical difficulties the last time. So again, gentlemen, welcome. Marcus, Kevin.
Hello, Brad.
Thanks,
Okay.
Brad.
Good. Hey,
Marcus,
Kevin,
how are you?
Good, mate.
Kevin, why don't you give us an update on the Woods Ball World Cup? Because I know there's been some changes. It's the
I think,
the dramatic pause.
He's froze again, isn't he?
Yep, he is.
Yeah. I think it's not us, it's just Kevin, isn't it?
I think so. I did a show yesterday, or last night, and it was okay. We can wait for him to reboot. Here he is.
I'm back, but I don't know for how long. It seems like I only get to the same part of my conversation every time, and I blank out.
There's somebody against it, so we'll try it again. Give us an update on the Woods Ball World Cup.
No, he's gone again, isn't he? As soon as you mention the Woods Ball World Cup,
God damn it!
right.
All right, I'm going to talk faster. We changed the date to a month after the original date of May 30th, 31st. I believe it's the weekend 27th, 28th of June. We submitted a letter to the state of New York, to the governor, Cuomo, asking for special consideration to run this event. We've gotten a lot of good interest, though. It seems to be developing more into like a local event. I think traveling is going to be difficult for people, so a drive-to event is probably what we're going to have. It won't be as large as we did anyway, if all goes well with the state. So, if I get any more information on that, I'll obviously, share it here or
absolutely
share it on our Facebook page.
Yep, and I will share it anytime we hear anything new.
Yeah, I got a little static from people when I posted it saying, "Hey, it's all about a money grab. You shouldn't have the event because people's health is at risk." And I got a lot of heat on my Facebook page about that. But these people obviously
there's fields opening up all over. A field opened last weekend here in Minnesota. It's not a money grab.
No, but that's you always have the trolls that have nothing good to say about anything.
Right.
Little do they know that it's a miracle if you make any money when you run these events. The amount of time you put in and the amount of labor you put in to do it. You don't get any credit for that. Honestly, the only reason we're doing it is to give people an opportunity to play this format.
Right.
And, there's a lot of people cooped up in the house right now that are just itching to play some paintball. So what better opportunity than get out and play a tournament?
It's true.
That's the way I feel about it. It's not a money grab by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep. Yep. I would agree wholeheartedly.
Do you know what's fun? Something that's really, really funny. Years ago, social media has obviously given us a platform to get out there to the general public nowadays and a wider audience, which I really appreciate that. But like you said, Kevin, something I don't appreciate is these keyboard warriors, right? They got a lot to say, but you never see them. Right? In my country, we say they got no arsehole, right? And they make all these comments and they shoot you down, but they would never ever come up and look you in the eye and say that. Not like us old guys. We had a beef with anybody years ago. We come up and say to you, right, I've got a problem with you. And it really, really makes me laugh that these guys have got so opinionated, but they just disappear into the background. They've got no, my saying is they've got no bollocks.
Yeah.
Right. They're gutless. So
right.
I don't take no notice of them, you know what I mean? But I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. I ignore that. I've been dealing with that so long.
Yeah.
With people making their trolling comments about everything, and what have they done? Have they ever even tried to put something like this on? Have they ever, There's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, and there's a lot of time that you're not getting paid for all the work you're doing before the event.
No.
You know, it takes hours and hours and hours and days away from my regular life and my business to stay in touch with everybody and to try to make this happen. You know, it's a lot of work.
Absolutely.
What's that old saying? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
That's true.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. That
is true.
Well, I'm an approachable guy. So, like you said earlier, Marcus, if somebody had something to say, pick up a phone, call me, or find me and talk to me.
Right.
I mean, I have nothing to hide.
Not at all.
I'm an open book.
Do you know what it is? It's like old school morals. The thing is, if somebody's got a problem with me, or I've got a problem with him, I'll go up and I'll talk to your face. You don't have to like me, and I don't have to like you. But I'd have more respect for you doing that than talk about somebody behind their back, because that, for me, you're not a real person. You know what I mean? Anyway,
No, it's one of those things that we come across as players between the new and the old, because we didn't have internet trolls long ago. We just had dudes who would come up and talk garbage, or at distance talk garbage. Now you can pretty much bang away on your keyboard from anywhere and take a shot at anyone.
Yeah,
so
because you're safe.
Right.
That's why they do it.
Right.
That's why they do it.
Right.
Or they get on PB Nation and they really do you over there, because they got a handle. You don't even know who they are. It's it's Paintballer 287. Come on, tell me what your name is, Paintballer 287.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Kevin, I just saw, and we talked about it the last time, but that Fred Schultz was contacted by the Hall of Fame committee. Could you talk us through a little bit how that worked for you and what we can expect from Fred being inducted?
Well, I was involved in the Hall of Fame, nomination and decision making, this voting this year for the first time, because I didn't have access to that, because you had to be a member of the Hall of Fame for 2 years before you had any say at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think the news that Fred was in the Hall of Fame, I think was like a whistleblower leak almost, because none of that was supposed to be even announced yet.
Oh, really?
Honestly, yeah, no, because the Hall of Fame likes to announce everybody.
Yep.
So that kind of leaked out. I guess Freddie mentioned it to Freddie Valenti, Freddie the ref, and Kiko, and they posted it up. But normally, under normal circumstances, that's announced just before the Living Legends event.
That's what I thought.
And everybody's announced together. So,
is there?
Oh,
go ahead. I was going to say, is there a Living Legends event this season? Because I know that there was a big hubbubaloo.
It was canceled.
Yeah. So could that be why it's being leaked, or?
No, I think what happened is, the committee probably contacted everybody to let them know that they were going to be inducted.
Yep.
But under normal circumstances, you don't announce that. It gets announced. Everybody gets announced at the same time.
Yep.
So
and that's what I thought as well. So I didn't know what was happening. But since the cat is out of the bag, that's a good thing. So congratulations.
Well, they announce it they'll usually announce it a month earlier so that people can, make whatever accommodations they have to make to get the Living Legends to accept the induction, So in this case, I don't know what's going on. And honestly, that's the first I've heard of anybody that's actually been inducted. I don't know what the outcome was of who was going to be, who I know who was nominated.
Yep.
I know the individuals that were nominated, but I really don't know what the outcome was. So Fred being, being inducted, kind of, I knew that was going to happen without having, actual numbers.
Right.
How do you not induct Fred Schultz? He would have probably been inducted a lot earlier if he hadn't vanished.
Yep.
But the committee, What's that, Marcus?
I said he's good stuff, Fred. He's always been a gentleman, the man. I've got so much respect for the man. I've like yourself, Kevin. Like we go back to the sort of mid-80s. He's one like yourself. He was one of the first people to come over from America to England, right? And to be honest with you, like you guys that come over back in those days had a big influence on me and the team and the way we played paintball, and just that general. Because I was only a young man back in them days. He had a big influence on me, how I conducted myself, and I think Freddie's always been. He's a character, but he's always been really, really good for the sport, and I think that's what's lacking nowadays. Them sort of characters, they're not as many. There's not as many of them there that there used to be years ago.
Yeah. No, Fred has done so much. Fred Schultz, he's a special guy. He is really one of a kind. I mean, he's always been a nice guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's done so, like you said, he's done so much for the game and the sport. He's been a team captain. He's, he did that Disney show, which was probably one of the best shows, most watched shows and most aired shows that we've ever produced in paintball. Yeah. And the guy worked hard.
He represented the sponsors well. He represented the sport of paintball well. It's what a lot of people should aspire to be, and many of us fall short.
No, Freddie deserves this award. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, absolutely. In my opinion, he should have been in sooner, but what did I have to say? In the Hall of Fame, in their defense, in the Hall of Fame's defense is, a lot of the people that are involved in the Hall of Fame, like originally, really are newer players and weren't around in the end. But as they inducted more of the older school people that really know where we came from,
right,
the Hall of Fame is shifting gears a little bit. You've got like Bambi Bullard, you got Dan Colby, you got Jim Lively, you've got, Paul and Cleo Fogel, Rainey Boucher, myself,
all the originals.
Bud Orr and Tom Kay. And so, it's definitely an evolving thing, and it's just getting better.
Right.
Do you know what?
And I give those guys, DJ Hanu and the CPX guys, the Dagninos and everybody that started it, I give them a lot of credit for doing it. A lot of credit for doing it. Again, you have the trolls out there. Everybody has their opinion on who could go, who should be there first. In fact, when they told me I was inducted, my first comment to them was, I don't want it.
Right. You knew it was
I don't deserve it. No, well, I said to him straight up. I said that to him. I said, look, I don't deserve it. I said, it should be, there's so many other people that should go in there before me.
No, I don't
and then they could, then Dan Colby got on the phone and he said, you've been around since the beginning. You've hung in there the whole time, And I was like, fine, whatever. But I didn't want to go in as Kevin Donaldson. I wanted to go in. I kept trying to convince him, why don't you put in instead of me as a player, why don't you put in the Master Blasters as a team?
Yeah.
Because, everything I am and everything that they're giving me credit for wouldn't be there without the Master Blasters.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. That would be somebody we should try and get on the show, Dan Colby, because I know he don't do podcasts. John's done, but I'm very, very friendly with Dan.
Yes.
Really, really friendly with him. So I'm going to, after this show, I'm going to talk to him and twist his arm and try and get him to come on here with us, because that would be a first step.
Yes.
Because I know he's podcast shy, isn't he?
he is a little bit busy, and he is a little bit selective of where he goes and who he talks to. It just takes the right cast.
I'll have a word with him and see if we can get him on here. That'd be good, because he's good stuff, Danny. I remember going to Thailand with Danny, and when Bud Orr got us to go out there and promote the autocockers, and we had such a laugh out there, and that was like we had some good times out there. You know what I mean?
I think it sounds like the perfect place to have good times.
Yeah.
So now, Kevin, with the change in the Woodsball World Cup, with the covering of the what am I trying to say? Of exactly what's going on in paintball now is fields are slowly opening up. They have social distancing requirements. Some places are allowing fields to open without rental equipment. What's it like there? Because Marcus, nobody's opening up in England yet, correct?
No, not at the moment. Obviously I've got a bit of my hand on the pulse in the UK. I've got one of my team players runs the UK Woodland Masters. Nicky Drew is a very, very good friend of mine. One of my team sponsors who supplies their paint, Tim Taylor at Tomahawk. They've got their own site as well. So those guys are really, really good friends of mine, and they are itching to get out there. But at the moment, we're still on lockdown, to be honest with you. I think they're looking at lifting it in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. So I think because obviously paintball's a sport that's played outside in the open, you don't really have to get that close to somebody. And I think you would probably be able to maybe play some form of paintball and tournaments and stuff. I think the only obviously the issue would be is obviously if people are getting too close to each other. I think when you're actually playing the game, right, you're not not all of the time. It's not like playing airball. Most of the time, I don't know if you agree, Kevin, and most of your eliminations when you're playing woods ball is at a greater distance than what it is when you're playing airball. Right, so the actual proximity isn't the same. So that distancing sort of requirement that they might want to try and put in place isn't so much needed when you're playing woods ball. Right, airball's a bit different because the guys are all on top of each other.
Yeah.
But woods ball historically has been a bit more spread out. Do you agree, Kev? Kevin?
Yeah, well, I'm having a hard time hearing you, Marcus.
Oh, sorry. He was just saying that woods ball fields seem a little bit easier to open up in this coronavirus thing, maybe than airball fields, just because of the size. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But we had to make some crazy changes to the rules, to try to get this past New York, and like we're not going to have a start box in the flag station where everybody's going to congregate. In our new rule now, you can start anywhere along the back line.
Yeah.
So the teams are going to not start from one central location at the back of the field, at either end of the field. We're going to start across the back lines, kind of like we did in the original speedball games.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where you started all along a back wall. We're not allowing any doubling of bunkers. So, 2 guys can't play out of the same bunker. We're talking, a 10-foot rule that you can't get within 10 feet of each other. And a lot of that stuff, a lot of those rules are there so that we can show New York that we're actually trying to, to mitigate transfer of the virus.
Right.
If things change between now and June 28th or 27th, we'll obviously eliminate those rules and go back to original rules.
Right. Right.
Everybody has to wear a mask under their mask is in our rules.
Okay.
Jerry, everybody has to wear a mask. So what I'm going to do is just cut a mask and put it into my, tape it into my goggles.
Yep.
We'll see how that works.
All I was saying, Kev, is I said with woods ball, the proximity of the players isn't as close to each other as what it is when you're playing airball. So out of the you because obviously historically most of your eliminations are at quite a distance. When you look at the eliminations from airball in comparison to woods ball, it's a lot further apart.
Oh yeah.
So,
much further apart. I mean, it's a lot easier in a woods ball event to separate people. That's for sure.
Exactly.
You don't have as many run-throughs. There's a lot of different. You don't have a lot of situations where guys are just on opposing sides of the same bunker.
Yeah.
Woods ball. In this environment,
he's gone again, isn't he?
He might have locked up a little bit, but he'll come back, I'm sure. And again, it's one of those things where we're making rules to make it go and to make it work. And that's
crazy.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting.
Marcus.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Now I think Brad's locked up.
Can you hear me?
Oh. Yeah, now you're back. Okay.
Okay. It's
said,
just- yeah.
I don't think realistically speaking, there's probably going to be any woods ball played in the UK for at least 2 to 3 months. That's what I'm anticipating. I spoke to Nicky Truger. He's obviously, he wants to get out there and get his series up and running. Woodland Masters want to get their stuff going, but as I said, we're a little bit behind the times over in the UK. So I would turn around and say I can't see much woods ball getting played for at least a couple of months yet, at the absolute minimum. It might be longer. You know what I mean? So
Right.
if that answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. Now there were some questions that we had. Marcus, did you have any of the questions that were sent to you? Because
No,
I have some as well.
Right, I'll tell you what I just want to do quickly, if you don't mind.
Yes.
There's a couple of guys I just wanted to give a shout out to.
Please do.
There's a guy who runs American Paintball magazines, right? A guy called Eric James.
Okay.
Right? And also Tom Boyer as well. You guys know Tom Boyer.
Yes.
Right? These guys keep on. They're always forever. They're forever posting stuff up of historical stuff from the magazines,
right?
Stuff that happened years ago. And these guys, for me, they're like the historians of paintball. Without these guys, right, with all these magazines and stuff, it's almost like our history gets lost. A lot of these younger people, right, it's very, very easy for us older players to talk about stuff because we've been there, we've seen it, we've done it.
Right.
But it's not until you actually sit down and read about something and you look at it in a physical sense, these younger people realise it's actually happened and they can read the reports, the old magazines, and see what we used to do years ago. So, as I said, Eric James and Tom Boyer, I'm indebted to you, right? You're greatly indebted for the service that you've paid by keeping our game alive, basically, and keeping us old sods, our history alive. Thank you very much. All right.
And that's a good segue into me contacting them and having them on the show, because I know Tom. Eric, I think I've met Eric a few times, but I don't.
You absolutely have met Eric. Well, no, maybe not. Eric James is Eric Cuevas, played for Ground Zero.
Yep. Then yes.
All right. So he's just come out of retirement after many years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's back playing with GZ again. And in fact, it's great to see him back. We call him EQ over here.
Okay.
So if you knew him as EQ, then you know who he is.
Yep.
We should get these guys on the show because Tom Boy and Eric, they're always posting stuff up about the stuff that we'd achieved over the years.
Right.
Right. And I owe these guys a real big sort of debt of gratitude because it's getting myself and my team back out there again for the new players in the world that didn't know about us. So without these guys, a lot of people wouldn't know about us nowadays. You know what I mean? And I said, I'm a real big debt of gratitude. And as I said, I'm really also as well, the way they sort of talk about us, and it's always complimentary.
Correct.
And do you know what it is? All those years, and you know this, Kevin, of the effort that goes into running a world-class paintball team, that's the payback. That's what makes it all worth it.
True.
Well, I was talking to Steve Davidson the other day, and we were talking about the personalities and how everybody wants to be somebody in paintball. We call it the paintball ego, right? We all have it. So when you first start in the game, you're playing paintball, you're having fun, then you become a team. Then you want the team to be noticed. Then you want the individuals on the team want to be noticed, so on and so on. So, I told Steve a story that I don't even think he knew, but back in the 80s when we first started, we were playing events, getting our shit pushed in, getting beat up all over the place, in local regional events, not ready to go on the national circuit yet. And or we were getting in the magazines, you'd get Frontline or whatever in the newsletter from NSG, all the California teams, the Navarones and the this one and the that one. And it took us all the way to 1989, from like 86 to 89 to finally win a national event. When we won that national event at Skirmish, 15 men, At the end of the event, they came to give us the trophy, and they came to hand us the $15,000 check. And as a team, we pushed the check and the trophy away and said, "Where's APG? We want our picture in that magazine." We didn't care about the 15 grand.
Yeah,
We didn't care about the trophy. It was like, there you go, California. An East Coast team finally won something major.
Right.
So and it's still like that today. So the magazines and the press are so important to growing the game and keeping people motivated.
Exactly. Yeah,
and I want to just mention, since we were talking about Tom Boyer, his Facebook page is what old school paintball magazines or something like that.
I believe so. Yes.
So people should really go check that out. He's got a lot of the old stuff up there. I mean, you can really get a handle on the way it used to be on that Facebook page.
I'll try to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marcus.
No, go on. You go first.
I was going to say I'll try to include a link when I put this show up in the comment section of the old school paintball.
Yeah, Tom's always, since I come back playing about 5 or 6 years ago now, Tom's always posting stuff about the team and the Preds, and sometimes he manages to find stuff that I can't even remember the pictures and the tournaments, which is like it's like a trip down memory lane. And I said, "Thank you, Tom. God bless you, mate."
Right. It's one of it. It's a great thing how the community sticks together and tries to do things that pay homage to those that were before us. So that's a very important aspect of things.
What I was going to say to you as well is, I said, like, I've got my partner Martin's doing me an advert for the show as well, which is going to go out in Europe and the UK. So next week we should have a lot more people with questions and stuff, because I think a lot of the stuff the advert that you putting up is predominantly going out to the American guys.
Yeah,
it's not really going out to the Europe and the UK. So after next week, I'll be putting an advert up, so we should have a lot more guys coming on with questions and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
Great.
Hey, Kevin, do you want to plug the show that's going to be on? Well, it could have already been aired by the time we air this, but I'm excited about that later today.
Oh, the show with
see that? Yeah.
On later today with Rainey Boucher and Steve Davidson.
Correct.
Yep. It's gonna be fun to talk to those guys again.
Yes.
Since they've vanished for such a long time.
Right. Marcus.
Yeah.
One of the questions, I have my phone in the other room that I need to go grab, so I'm going to go grab that so I have the questions for you. Yeah. But one thing that I saw recently, and I was going to pull it up, is the Hyperball World Championships, like the first ones that you guys played in, where they had teams from over in the US. Could you kind of run us through how large of a production that was? Because it was very large. Kevin, were you there?
No, I didn't go to that.
Okay.
No,
okay. But Marcus,
I did not play that.
I believe it was run, if I can remember correctly, it was run by Jed Green, because Jed Green was Jed Green was the originator of Hyperball, right? And what it basically was we started playing first of all in the UK. They had Arena Ball, which was the actual concept of that was from a guy called Steve Matticott, which was a team captain of a UK woods ball team called Bad Company, and we went and played that, which is really, really good. And then after that, then obviously Jed Green came up with a concept of Hyperball, which was I believe it was played. I might not be correct with the actual venue, so where it was, but I believe it was in Birmingham, and it was huge. It was really, really big. I think they had a couple of different Hyperball fields, and they was absolutely huge up there. There's probably about twice the size of what they are now. Even the biggest Hyperball field you guys have got in the States, it was about twice the size. And it was the first real paintball event where people could come and spectate. right? You had proper built sort of spectator stands. You had obviously the television crews were there, and it was a really really good event. And I think that was obviously the springboard for the guys to do airball or sup air, which we call it in the UK. And yeah, I think I'm not sure if we won it 2 years on the trot. We won it 1 year, and then I know Banzai Bandits, which was Leeds at Planet Eclipse. They won it 1 year. Right, but I'm not. As I said, I know we won it 1 year, but we really, really enjoyed playing a hyperball. Right, it was a different concept, and it was it was a fun time back in those days. As I said, because with the hyperball fields, they were huge, they were really, really big, and you could still move. And also back in them days, everything was being played at classic. So this sort of the way the guns sort of evolved into shooting, or the amount of paint that was getting shot, it was the kiss of death to sort of aggressive paintball. But back in the day when I was playing hyperball, because we were shooting classic guns, just semi-auto, you could play aggressively at hyperball, right? But now, obviously, now that you've got the ramping guns, right, they was originally playing with, right, it sort of stopped the actual aggressive side of paintball being played so much. But as I said, hyperball, we really, really enjoyed playing it. The only trouble now in Europe and the UK, I believe there's only one hyperball field, which is at Skirmish Nottingham, and that's only a quarter-size field. So we don't have the actual infrastructure anymore to play it like we used to.
Right. And this is saying that it was in 97, but look at the field. It's gigantic.
Yeah. I mean, I said it's huge.
Yep. It's how it should be. And I believe Kevin might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Rennick Miller recreate or try to recreate this size for size at the Badlands originally? Because the first Hyperball field was gigantic.
Yeah.
I don't believe Renix was as large as that, but it was probably one of the larger fields in this country. That's for sure.
Yeah.
As I said, Brad, that was the first. Jed's idea was Jed's sort of brainchild, or sort of little. It was the first paintball event where you actually purpose-built spectator stands,
right,
where people could go and watch the game being played. Right, and that was obviously just. I said it to Kevin just now. This was the springboard for hyperball airball.
Absolutely,
this was the beginning of it. You know what I mean? But as I said, prior to this, you also had arena ball.
Yeah,
which was a concept before this, which was basically a load of triangle-shaped barricades.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, which we played, and then this come after. We used to love playing hyperball, right?
Yep.
But as I said, back in those days, it was all classic guns. You know what I mean? And
right.
You could still play. What I said earlier on, you could still play aggressively.
Yep. Big teams, big crowds, and big fields. That's really what it was.
Well, we had the spectators in the arena ball too. You know, I remember Jerry had to say, Jerry went out to Satgong Village at the time and saw, Giovanni at the first airball, arena ball, speedball field out there. And then Jerry came back. And I mean, I think the following weekend after Jerry saw that, we built a second one in the States, the second arena ball field in the States. And like Marcus said, it was tires and barrels and triangular plywood cutouts, spectators, and then, Jed obviously, changed everything forever with that arena ball setup, hyperball setup.
As I said, the actual concept, when it was first done, when you had semi-auto guns, the concept was a good idea. It was very, very exciting. It was very, very fast-paced. And there was a lot of skill involved. And it didn't just rely on gun skills. It was obviously a tactical game as well, because of the fields are that big, you could always move. Right. But once they started making them smaller and the guns started shooting faster, then it became a technology racing game, and the game wasn't won by skill anymore. Don't get me wrong, it is skillful, but it's not as tactical.
Right.
And that's what I think was lost. You know what I mean? Playing on. We discussed this the other week. The bigger the field, the more you have to engage your paintball brain. Simple as that.
Yep. It is true. It is true. I like the slight details which were different at this time with the orange arms coming off. I'm sure that they did that for visual effect, maybe for safety. I don't know, but the involvement of the refs, the amount of the cameras like trying to get in, they didn't care. These camera people didn't care about getting shot because they were getting shot exponentially.
The reason why they had those orange arms like that, because I can remember playing there and I went running down to take to mug somebody. I'm looking in field to shoot the guy, and I didn't see one of these, and I've run straight into it. And and I think the hyperball should come off better than what I did. That's why they actually started spraying. They actually started spraying them orange and bright orange and bright yellow.
Yep, makes sense. Completely makes sense.
Well, I'll tell you what was a shame a little while ago. John Soster had a format which was called Formula 5, which was very, very good years ago. But maybe not this week. Another show we can get some footage for that and put it up, which is a bit of a hybrid sort of hyperball, airball sort of scenario, which is really, really good. Now, I'll get some footage of that, and I don't know if any Americans have ever seen it before, but it was a different format, which is very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you heard of that, Kevin? I would say that that's a yes.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? You haven't? Okay.
Yeah, that's a yes. No, I have not.
Really,
okay. I got
you. Got a delay with me again?
Formula 5
it's really, okay. Really good. Yeah, we're having a bit of a nightmare this week, aren't we?
But it's worth it. At least we can see you, Kevin, even if there is a bit of a delay. We get to see you in your freshly shaven face.
My mum's got to love that face, isn't they?
Right. Well,
you can see all the wrinkles now, you know.
Right. No wrinkles.
That's why I've always got a beard.
And you're growing it back very quickly, by the way. Jason Hearn had a question for you, Marcus.
Okay.
Actually, he had two, so we can start with one, and then we'll touch on the other one. But he wanted to know how he gets the pred cam on his Spire loader. Is there an ability for you guys to do pred cam on loaders? Yes.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of products that we're in the process of bringing out this season, right? But the only thing that stopped us now is the coronavirus. We was going to be launching pred cam at the beginning of May, and we was going to showcase it at the Woodsboro World Cup. I've got one of my players that lives in Florida in America, and he was going to be the distributor there for us. And it was going to be launched, and it was going to include the whole range. In the UK at the moment, you're not allowed to actually have hopper covers, right? Which is something that we've been working on with different materials and stuff. But also, I had approached. Obviously, the coronavirus has stopped to us now. I had approached Spire, and there was a possibility they was going to be doing a pred cam Spire loader.
Oh wow! Okay.
Right, so that's something I was going to be working on with those guys, because obviously Ledsy at Planet Eclipse did the pred cam gun, and also you've got the push pred cam goggles, and it was just going to be like another addition to the pred cam range.
Right. And that pretty much goes into his second question of when there is going to be a Predator barrel.
Right. The Predator barrels, again, I've got all the prototypes. I designed paintball barrels, 30 years ago. I used to have my own paintball barrels. It was called the Predator barrel. And I've got another system now which we're going to use. The whole team's going to use it again. They're being manufactured now. But the trouble with us at the moment is my partner, Martin Draper, his engineering company, they've now been acquisitioned to actually make stuff for the healthcare service in the UK. So everything is all on hold over here, I'm afraid. So once the coronavirus, please God, sort of eases off and our world goes back to normal, then I can obviously pick up where I left off and get the UK Predator Signature Series barrels out there as well. They will be coming in pre-cam, and they'll also be coming in a few other colours as well.
Fantastic. Hey, Kevin, the question that I have is, I know that you've probably, hopefully, seen some of the past episodes that I've done with the Image guys, but since you're a Northeast kind of guy, can you give me kind of a shot with the Bad Company in the Image camp, how they tie into the Northeast there with you? Waiting for the leg.
Yeah, I know. There we go.
There we go.
I really don't understand the question, because how do they tie in with us?
I'm saying
with the Blasters or with me or
right with the Blasters. Have they come?
Look, we've been competing with New York. We've been competing with those guys. We've been competing with those guys for so many years, so many different teams and so many different names that it's. I mean, our rivalries go back to like the beginning of time. Pre-Image.
Right.
Pre-All-Americans.
Yep.
The Malacheskis and us go back to, when they were the Baltimore Rats.
Exactly.
And
that's kind of like the leading question that I had, is that you guys have always been intertwined. That area of paintball seems almost so dense. Like I have to travel 8-9 hours to get to, or 7 hours to get to Chicago. That's the closest to me. But it seems that these guys in the Northeast, you're constantly playing, coming across each other, changing, swapping players, doing things like that really make it into something that is, it's impressive. You know what I mean? Like the connection that you guys have on and off the field. Because every time I do a new Image or a new Northeast, I learn something new about you, even.
Oh, yeah. No, the Northeast, fortunately.
I haven't been able to hear anything Kevin's saying, but obviously you can hear him, all right?
Oh, you can't hear Kevin?
No, I can't.
You can't hear me, Marcus?
But
yeah, it was.
So that's fine.
Yep, I'll direct you, Marcus. Not a problem. So go ahead, Kevin.
Okay. Anyway, we've been fortunate in the Northeast. First the game was born here, so we got to jump on the whole world over here back in the day.
Right.
The majority of the first fields were here.
Yep.
The population, but from Maine to the Carolinas and then west is unbelievable of paintball players. And back in the day, you'd go to a field like Jerry Braun's, or you'd go to a field like Canopy in New Hampshire, or, any fields that were in the area, and you could have 15 teams there just practicing on a weekend.
Right.
Today it's kind of the same thing. We have practices, for the classic stuff, and you can have, 6 teams there still for a practice.
Yeah. Is that 10-man by chance? Because I know that's see, that's insane. That's absolutely insane in my geographic location. Marcus,
yeah, well,
Kevin,
you don't always get all 10, but you'll get, and then what happens is you wind up getting 6 from the Misfit Toys, and 7 from the Omens, and 5 from the Blasters, and 5 from GZ, and we just all play together.
Yeah.
Split it up, work, play, whatever, and then we'll break it down, play 5-man on a Hyperball field or a Mounds field, play, 10-man in the woods. It's always been like that. Like, we're fortunate. We're very fortunate here in the Northeast, really fortunate.
And that's one of the things where it keeps being illustrated to me. Now I'm going to talk to Marcus and fill him in on this one. Basically, what I was talking to Kevin about was in the Northeast, there seems to be a lot of overlap of players. I've done a bunch of shows from teams from the U.S. Northeast, and they play together. They play against each other. They form teams together. Kevin was just saying that it isn't out of the ordinary to now still have practices where there's 6 to 10-man teams there, which is ridiculous for someone in like my area.
Yeah.
And I think in the UK, you would be probably closer to me in saying that, are there even, how many 10-man teams are there in the UK?
Well, to be honest with you, there's not very many sort of 10-man teams, because what basically happened is when the Woods ball was stopped being played, everybody was obviously that's carried on playing paintball, was playing airball, and most of the guys, all the team sizes dropped down to 7-man and 5-man teams, right? So at the moment in the UK, you've got a flourishing 5-man circuit in the Woods.
Yep.
Right. And what we're trying to do now is promote a 7-man league.
Okay.
Right. Because for me, in a 5-man team, you've all got 7 players. So to go from 5-man to 7-man isn't too much of a jump. Right. But to go from 5-man to 10-man is big jump. Yep. And a lot of teams can't do that at the moment. So what we're trying to do in the UK now, we've grown the 5-man circuit, and it's very, very healthy, right? What I'm going to try and do once the coronavirus eases back is grow a 7-man circuit, and that will be the actual springboard for the 10-man circuit again.
Makes sense,
right? So, in the moment in the UK, you've probably got, I would say, about half a dozen good, strong 10-man teams. Apart from that, most of the teams would be an amalgamation of two different teams.
Yep.
Right. And that's, as I said, it's what you guys in America have to understand is that if whatever you guys have been doing for 2 years, that for us was where it begins. So we're always a year, maybe 2 years behind you guys. We're always playing catch up all the time. You guys have had classic now for 2 or 3 years. It's really now starting to take off in the UK now. Right, and obviously it's the way forward for all wood sport to be played. Right?
Absolutely.
But as I said, the 10-man circuit, I love 10-man paintball. For me, 5-man, it's too much. 5-man has a tendency to, for me, it's a very individual game. 5-man, right? And also as well, 5-man, you can't be aggressive playing 5-man, because if you lose 2 players, the game's over on the tape.
Yeah.
Right. Where on 7-man and 10-man, you can play aggressively, lose a couple of players, and you can still recover the game and win. But you can't normally do that on 5-man.
True.
Right. But as I said, 10-man, I love 10-man. You know what I mean? For me, 10-man has always been the most prestigious title to have won. And that's what I think every team aspires to, is to play 10-man paintball. You know what I mean? It's where it is, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kevin, have you run into any interesting comments or questions since you started doing the show?
I'm sorry. For some reason, I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Very, very low.
Okay. Well, again, we're knocking on an hour, so we almost got that done. I was just wondering if you heard or had any other questions from people that's watched the show that we've done so far. Yeah, there's audio.
No, I haven't gotten any questions. Nobody's asked me any questions. I think I thought that pretty much questions. So.
Yep. Nope. I get it. Well, what I'll do is, since we're having some technical issues, we'll stop it here. But what we're going to be doing in the future, I talked with Marcus, because there's people who want to put their questions down in video format. They're going to contact me. I'm going to have a video that I can pull up, just like the videos here, where I can set up, people will ask the question, and then we can answer the question. Do it that way, because that's a little bit easier than people emailing or texting me their videos. So in leaving, Kevin, is there anything that you want to touch base before we say goodbye for the day?
No, I don't think I have anything to say. I mean, I
Remember,
pretty much said what I have to say, and I've thanked people every other time we've been on the air, so I don't think I need to do that now. I just
Nope. We're on for another show today, so we'll have even more time to talk about that.
Yeah, well, that'll be an experience, I'm sure.
Yes, I can't.
But I do want to say thanks to Marcus for doing this. You know, and taking the time to come out and do this with us.
Absolutely. I will make sure Marcus, he wants to thank you. He doesn't really have much to say except for thank you for doing this with him, because it is a good thing. Again, your guys' show, I think it was your first or your second show, is still ranked number 2 in all of my videos about this. So this is a good format. The technical difficulties are kind of, something that we can deal with in time.
But so what I was going to say to you with that question that you asked Kevin, I've had quite a few people contact me about the show. They've really, really enjoyed it. And what they like is the fact that we talk the truth.
Right.
There's no, these shows are not rehearsed. It's what you see is what you get. And, there's too many people nowadays, they're sitting down, they're worried about their hair and worried about this. This is real. And I think that's what a lot of people respect and they like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because as I said, me and Kevin Banks, and this is what a few of the English guys that have watched the video said to me. They said, right, that me and Kevin bounce off each other very, very well.
True.
Right? And most of these English guys that know me turn around and say, wow, you've actually found somebody that's louder than you.
Kevin, he was saying that he's been getting a lot of great feedback from the guys over by him about the give and take that you two have, and that he is fortunate to finally meet someone louder than he is.
We talked about that.
Yes. Yesterday on the show that unfortunately didn't get progress because of the technical difficulties. But again, guys, I appreciate your time. The next show that we have, we'll have it all figured out, and hopefully these technical issues will be over by then.
And as I said, I'll have a lot more people as well that are going to come onto the show, because quite a lot of people have been contacting me and saying they've had a little bit of difficulty contacting you, Brad. So it's easy for them to contact me.
Absolutely.
Give them all a shout out. Anybody that wants to send us a question gets a shout out on the show. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like you said, get their face up in it as well.
Yep, and I think that will help a little bit as well, because everybody wants to see themselves on here asking the questions. So that's the important thing. So again, guys, thank you, Marcus, for your time. We'll do it next week. This is fantastic. Kevin, thank you for your time. We're knocking right on the door of an hour. It's like we had it perfectly planned, although we fumbled through it. That's okay. Again, and everybody out there, contact me on the Paintball Therapy page, contact Marcus, contact Kevin if you have any questions for us, and we'll address them directly. So for me and everyone here, I want to say thank you, and have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
Stay safe, everybody. God bless.
Absolutely.